Perfectionism is not the quest for the best. It is a pursuit of the worst in ourselves, the part that tells us nothing we do will ever be good enough. Are you a perfectionist? Welcome to Seaweed Hour, where we're building gentler, more joyful ways of living through intention and reflection. My voice might sound a bit muffled today because I'm just recovering from a flu and the birds be chirping, but that's okay. Today we're talking about how to notice what is already good enough. What do I mean by good enough? Good enough is a point where you go, you know what? This is good enough already. I can stop here. There is a level of satisfaction. To me, good enough does not mean bare minimum. For me, it refers to the best you can do considering the circumstances, the resources you have been given, and the current skill that you possess in alignment with your values. For me, good enough looks like having enough resources to sleep well, to rest, to eat nourishing foods, to have time to spend with family and friends, to have fun, to do work that is meaningful to me, that challenges me and allows me room to grow. Good enough also means that I love myself, I am proud of myself, and that I am positively impacting the people and the world around me. Before we talk about the how, let's think about the why. Why do I need to consider what is good enough? Well, thank you for asking. When you have a clear idea of what good enough looks like to you, you get to live a life in accordance to your values. You get to choose to go big on what you care about whilst doing it in a sustainable way. If we don't define enough, we default to more, which makes it impossible to understand when to say no. Without a clear idea of what good enough is, you might find yourself one day at night being unable to sleep saying, I earn so much money for what also cannot spend. Or,
Yeah, I want to quit my job, but now I have to go pay my car loan and my mortgage.
of course, I don't know who you are, but I will find you. And I don't know your life, I don't know how much you have on your plate. But I know that when you intentionally question what good enough looks like, instead of going along with someone else's standard of what good enough is, your life will feel a lot more like your own. Now, how do we find out what good enough is? I have 4 things for you to consider. Number 1, good enough for who? For whom? When you think deeply about how you approach your work and your life, where does your measure of good enough come from? Are you living your life to meet someone else's expectations? The need for acceptance is a primal instinct. There is a healthy level of wanting acceptance in a pro-social way, but it might tip into living a life based on someone else's approval, like people-pleasing, validation. Maybe this was instilled in you since you were young, based on upbringing or the education system. Or maybe you live or work in an environment where an authority figure would punish you if you did not meet their expectations of good enough. If that's the case, I might ask you, can you leave? I know that's not possible for a lot of us. But do you really have to meet those expectations, or is there a way to negotiate it? Let's take a look at some scenarios. For example, in a work setting, maybe someone has impossible standards for you to meet. Is there a way you can communicate that tactfully and at the same time also negotiate a more manageable expectation? Because ultimately, we all want the same thing, right? Generally speaking, we want work that is of quality. Because if you rush through something and it's bad, like, what's the point? Or are you placing those impossible expectations on yourself? If that's the case, can change or not? Kidding. If that's the case, I ask you, do you really want to make another 10 revisions on this project that would make you resentful, hate work, tired, and very cranky? Or is it better to adjust those expectations and consider what is good enough for now? In terms of lifestyle or money, you can ask yourself, do I really need that expensive watch or car? Or this condominium that is like in the millions and millions of dollars? Or are they just signal markers that I don't care about? Is this a life you really want to live? For context, I work as a freelancer, so I do have a lot of freedom when it comes to work and my lifestyle, so I'm not assuming that everyone watching this video has that luxury, but I do think that this can be applied to you in different degrees. In a way that when you have clarity around good enough, there might be more freedom in adjusting those expectations. So when it comes to good enough, I ask you, good enough for who? Number 2, let your values guide you. To tune in deeper to what good enough looks like for you, we want to think about what values matter to us. For example, my values are health, intention and alignment, joy and fun, and skill. Health looks like having adequate sleep, nutritious food and yummy food to eat, and space to relax and decompress. Intention and alignment is the ability to show up how I want to show up in a space, which is related to my third value, of having joy and fun in work and in life in general. And lastly, skill is the opportunity to execute tasks at a certain quality, and also to have the opportunity to grow and be challenged in my skills. These values guide my decision making when I am deciding whether or not to take on a project, and also before I begin a project. I will always ask myself, number one, do I enjoy working with these people who are contracted to do the project? Will I have fun doing this project? Will it bring me joy? Also, a lot of things bring me joy, so it's not very hard to meet. Number two, is there a way I can grow or be challenged in my skills when I am doing this project? Will I be able to execute it at a high quality? Number three, will I have adequate resources to show up how I want to show up? Like having capacity for others and also contributing to a fun, joyous environment. In practice, it looks like making choices around sleep, nutrition, and rest, and being proactive in the ways I can contribute to a project. Number two, it looks like not taking things too seriously, being silly, and just trying things out. And number three, but also taking things seriously enough, pushing myself, but still in a way that I can manage my energy and I have adequate sleep. Because honestly, right, if I don't have adequate sleep, I'm just like a shriveled prune. I know some people can thrive off like 3. I honestly don't think it's scientifically possible to thrive off 3 hours of sleep. But I really can't. Like, I need at least 7 or 8. I've left a list of values in the comment section down below, so you can have a look and reflect what values are important to you. Number 3, what do I want to go big on? Considering trade-offs. A book that has greatly changed my life is this, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. In this book, he says, essentialists see trade-offs as an inherent part of life, not an inherently negative part of life. Instead of asking, what do I have to give up? They ask, what do I want to go big on? Trade-offs help you accept that you can't do everything. That's the reality. A trade-off is when you lose something to gain something because of limited resources like time, money, or energy. The reality is, if you want to go big on something, you have to make space for it. How this looks like in practice could be, you could obsess over the tiniest details, want to make 10 to 20 revisions on a project, or you could maybe make the final 3 edits, spend the rest of your time re-energizing, recuperating, so that you're fresher for the next one. Or you could direct your attention to something that is more important. You could say yes to a new job opportunity or a full-time job, or you could build something of your own. In that case, you might need headspace to dream, to ideate, to make connections, but you might have to say no to financial security, savings goals, and maybe sleep. We are always saying yes to one thing and no to the other at one particular time. So the question to ask yourself is, what do I want to go big on? And lastly, once you have the measure of what good enough is to you, and you are guided by your values, and you have considered what you want to go big on, I find it extra helpful to practice radical acceptance. In 4,000 Weeks, Oliver Berkman says, it's only by facing our finitude that we can step into a truly authentic relationship with life. To radically accept that I am human, that's not radical, that's realistic. To realistically accept that I am human and have limitations in terms of my time and energy and resources, I sometimes implement the best by date. Not in terms of expiration, though Oliver would suggest it is a good motivator in life, but my best by date accepts that this is the best I can do at this point with the current resources and time that I've been given. For example, if I'm working on a project that is challenging and I feel like I can do more, I just need more time and money, and I would say to myself, okay, stop it, Cheryl. This is the best you can do by insert date. Like, this is the best you can do by 24th of June. It is not a reflection of the whole of me and my potential. It's just a reflection of what my current skills and abilities could produce at this current time with the current resources. I feel like it's comforting and helpful to accept this reality, not in a defeatist way, but in a practical and realistic way. It gives you a clear time to know when to stop. Lately, I've been reminding myself that I can only be where I am at that given moment, working towards where I want to be. It's simply not possible for me to have a sudden acceleration in my skills and growth in an impossible short span of time, or to transform to who I want to be with like a snap of finger. I just accept my current reality, and if I do want to improve, I can be intentional about it and put in the effort to do so. But for now, this is good enough. Finding what good enough looks like to you can be challenging. I've listed a couple of resources down in the comment section below. If a reflection practice is not something that is familiar to you, you can check out this video to find out how to make space for reflection to live a life truer to you. I'm curious to know what good enough looks like to you and also what values guide you, so please leave them in the comment section down below. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for tuning in to Seaweed Hour. See you in the next one. Bye!